Imagine walking into a store and buying a supercar for the price of a used bicycle. It sounds absolutely ridiculous, right? It sounds like a scam or a mistake. But in the world of technology, Apple is about to make this impossible scenario a reality. We are standing on the edge of a massive shift in how we think about desktop computers. For years, you had to choose between your wallet and your performance. You could save money and get a computer that struggled to open a few tabs, or you could empty your bank account for a machine that actually worked. That era is ending. The tiny titan of the tech world is getting an upgrade that is going to rewrite the rulebook. If you thought the current Mac Mini was a steal, you are not ready for what is coming in 2026. This isn't just a spec bump. This is the moment where the budget computer finally surpasses the machines that cost 3 times as much. We're looking at the M5 Mac Mini, and frankly, it might be the only computer you will ever need to buy again. Let's take a second to look at the landscape right now, because context is everything. At the end of 2024, Apple did something they rarely do. They listened to the fans and completely overhauled the design of the Mac Mini. This was a monumental moment because that little silver box hadn't really changed in nearly 15 years. The M4 Mac Mini launched as this tiny, sleek powerhouse that fit in the palm of your hand. It was priced at $599, which was aggressive. It immediately became the best value deal in the entire history of tech. But technology never sleeps. As good as the M4 is, the leaks for the 2026 model, the M5, paint a picture of a machine that is in a completely different league. We are talking about a computer that takes that winning formula and injects it with a level of graphical power and AI intelligence that we haven't seen in this form factor before. The first thing everyone asks about is the look. Will they change it again? The short answer is no, and that is actually great news. Since Apple took over a decade to change the design last time, they're going to stick with this new, smaller footprint for a long time. The M5 and M5 Pro models will look identical to the current M4 version. It's going to be that same incredible, dense, high-quality aluminum square that disappears on your desk. Now, this does mean one controversial feature is staying. The power button will remain on the bottom. I know, people on the internet made a huge fuss about this. They said it was a design failure. But let's be honest with ourselves. How often do you actually turn your Mac off? Most of us just let it sleep. The trade-off is worth it because the cooling system in this new chassis is a marvel of engineering. It keeps the system silent even when you're pushing it hard. So, visually, nothing changes, but the real magic, the stuff that makes your jaw drop, is happening deep inside the silicon. The heart of this beast is the M5 chip. Based on the architecture we are seeing in other high-end Apple devices like the Vision Pro and the latest iPads, we can map out exactly what this chip will do. For your everyday tasks, browsing the web, writing documents, managing your life, the CPU performance is set to jump by about 10 to 15%. Now, you might hear that and think it sounds low. You might think 10% isn't a game changer. But you have to remember that the M4 is already faster than 90% of the computers out there. Adding another 15% on top of that makes this machine instantaneous. We're talking about apps opening before you even finish clicking the mouse. We're talking about zero lag ever. But the CPU isn't the headline here. The real shocker, the thing that is going to scare the competition, is the graphics performance. The GPU in the M5 is expected to be up to 45% faster than the M4. Just let that sink in for a second. Nearly 50% more graphics power in a single generation. That is unheard of in the budget space. Usually, we get a modest 10 or 20% boost. A 45% jump transforms what this computer can do. If you are a gamer, this means titles that used to stutter will now run smooth as butter. If you're a video editor or a content creator, it means you can scrub through 4K footage without dropping a single frame. It effectively kills the need for a massive, loud tower PC for most people. Even though the chip will likely still use 10 cores, these aren't the same old cores. They are new, highly efficient, and paired with next-generation AI enhancers, similar to what we see in the A19 Pro mobile chips. This means the Mac Mini is going to be an artificial intelligence powerhouse, ready for whatever features Apple rolls out in the next few years. Of course, power is nothing without memory to back it up. This is where the leaks get really interesting. For years, Apple has been stingy with RAM. But for the M5, it looks like they are sticking with a new standard. We expect the options to include 16, 24, and 32 gigabytes of unified memory. That 16 gigabyte baseline is critical. It allows the computer to multitask without slowing down. But the real conversation we need to have is about storage. This is the one area where users get nervous. For a long time, the base model came with 256 gigabytes of storage. In 2026, that simply isn't enough. With high-resolution photos, 4K videos, and massive applications, that drive fills up in a week. The big hope, and the rumor we are all praying is true, is that Apple will finally bump the base storage to 512 gigabytes. If they do that, the value proposition becomes unbeatable. You wouldn't need to buy external drives or pay for expensive cloud storage right away. It would make the machine a complete package right out of the box. Now, what if you're a pro user? What if you're a musician, a professional filmmaker, or a developer compiling massive code bases? That is where the M5 Pro enters the chat. This chip is going to be a monster. Leaks suggest there will be two versions of the Pro chip. The base version could feature 14 cores, while the top-tier version could go up to 16 cores. Putting 16 cores of Apple silicon performance into a box the size of a customized coaster is insanity. It brings workstation-class power to a device that you can throw in a backpack. For memory on the Pro model, we are expecting it to start at 24 gigabytes, which is plenty for heavy workloads. But for those who really need to crunch data, you will likely be able to configure it with up to 64 gigabytes of RAM. Storage on the Pro could also see a massive boost, potentially starting at 1 terabyte. This basically makes the M5 Pro Mac Mini a Mac Studio Junior. It destroys the line between consumer and professional hardware. So, when can you actually get your hands on this marvel? Apple operates like clockwork. The leaks and historical data point squarely to June 2026. This aligns perfectly with their Worldwide Developers Conference, or WWDC. That is usually where they like to show off their new silicon capabilities. If they announce it in early June, you could have this machine sitting on your desk by the middle of the month. It is a bit of a wait, but good things come to those who wait. And the best part? The price. In a world where everything is getting more expensive, it looks like Apple is going to hold the line. The base M5 is expected to stay at $599. The M5 Pro should hover around $1,399. In my honest opinion, this is the endgame. The Mac Mini M5 represents the perfection of the desktop computer for 99% of the population. It takes the incredible redesign of the M4, keeps the price accessible, and injects it with a level of graphics power that solves the only real weakness the Mac Mini ever had. Whether you're a student heading to college, a creator starting a YouTube channel, or just someone who wants a computer that will stay fast for 5 or 6 years, this is the one. It is the perfect balance of price, performance, and longevity. Do not buy a computer right now if you can help it. Wait for this. It is going to be worth every single second of the wait. If you like the video, subscribe, share the video, and hit the bell icon like that.